Hey, YouTube. Hey. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about 5 things that homeschool parents don't need. Okay, these are, I've been talking to homeschool parents a lot lately, especially after our youngest just went to university. And every single time that I have a conversation, it becomes more and more apparent that this is the conversation that people need. So I'm going to go through, they're in a particular order, but we'll probably circle back. So 5 things that homeschool parents don't need. The very first thing is, and yes, I have cards because it helps me stay on task, is that we need to stop endlessly searching for better and better curriculum. Can I just newsflash? There's no such thing. There's no perfect curriculum that's a perfect fit for you and your kids and your homeschool journey, because curriculum is written by people that want to sell curriculum. So they're not looking at your family, your kids, your season of life and taking that into consideration. Instead, they're using buzzwords like this grade, these benchmarks, these standards, etc., to try to solicit the emotional response that you think, ooh, we need that. And when you endlessly search for curriculum, you lose sight of your own family, your own kids, and so there's less and less joy the more you focus on curriculum. The next thing is that, and there's a reason why this is true, you should not feel like your homeschool day never ends. Why do you feel this way? I can tell you why. It's because you are looking at your lesson planner and the curriculum and your to-do lists instead of looking at your kids through the lens of what your master homeschool goals are. Now, I've talked to enough homeschoolers to know that if you're struggling and you're feeling like you're chained to your kitchen table and you never find the end of your school day, it's because you don't have your master homeschool goals set. And this is something that if you've followed me for a long time, if you're in any of my social circles, you will know that my husband and I talk about this all the time, because without a goal, you can't measure your success. And when you can't measure your success, you keep feeling like, well, we just got to keep going because I don't know if I've done enough, which goes into number 3, the stress. You do not need to have stress over how much you're doing. Is it enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? Can we just solve this once and for all? It's never enough, because there's no way that you can teach absolutely everything that you need to teach in homeschool. And so as we're talking about the 5 things that homeschoolers don't need to do, this is a big one. Now, I just shared this on Instagram because I went and did a live over there, and I shared this story about when I was a young wife. I had gone and I decided that I was going to become this master chef. So I found 7 amazing recipes, went to the store, bought all the stuff, and blew our food budget for the week, only to have my family hate every single one of those recipes. And I can still feel my younger self standing in the kitchen, feeling defeated and crying because I didn't have the ability to do anything differently. And I thought, you know what, Bekki, you did this wrong. Instead of changing everything all at once, for the rest of your life, your goal is to find 1 new recipe to add to your repertoire of things that you can cook for your family. Well, you can guess what happened. Over the next 30 years, because that was 30 years ago, I have amassed this amazing toolkit of things that I know how to cook. But then we circle back here. When is it enough? Have I learned every kind of cooking style out there? No. Do I know how to dress a duck? No. Have I made, what's it called, creme brulee? No. There are a lot of things that I don't know how to cook. However, what I did learn back in that process of becoming an excellent cook is that there were basic skills that I needed and a basic understanding of my own palate, my husband's palate, my children's palates, so that I could find recipes that worked for our family. Well, in homeschool, you stress over how much is enough because you feel like you have to check off all the boxes. And I'm here to declare loud and proud that you do not need to check off all the boxes. There is no master list of what you and your kids need to learn by the time they graduate high school that has anything connected with this grade level, this skill. It's just really not out there. The curriculum providers, the people that are selling you a bunch of stuff, want you to feel the pressure of, well, since I taught 7th grade last year, I better teach 8th grade this year. What I'm telling you is that instead, if you can shift the perspective to, what are our master homeschool goals? By the time my kids graduate high school, I want them to be excellent communicators. That's one of my husband and my master homeschool goals. So I don't feel the pressure of 7th grade to 8th grade. I look at my child and I say, are they a master communicator? If not, which part of that skill are we going to be working on this year? And so it frees you from the chains of curriculum if you have your goals set. Now, number 4 of things that homeschool parents don't need, that's a whole bunch of empty advice. And you know it. You ask in a social media group or in a thread advice about anything, you can ask 15 people a question and you're going to get 1,000 different answers, because it's going to be it's just the way that it is. Everybody's an expert. So be very careful about where you get homeschool advice. My trick for this one is something that my husband taught me, and that's to be what they call a professional fruit inspector. If in anything, but we're talking about homeschool, but if in anything you need advice, you want to look behind the curtain and see into that person's life. So if you're looking for homeschool, let me just tell my husband that make sure that that person has fruit that you can emulate after. If not, you're going to be led astray. So what does that mean? When you look, you want to make sure that, number 1, they're an actual homeschooler. Number 2, that they're living a life in a way that makes you lean in, like, oh, I think I would like to know more about what you know. And you know what that's like. There's this one gal online, and I want to be like this master bread maker, right? So when I saw her name, you can look her up. Her name's Melissa K. Norris. When I saw her stuff online, I instantly was drawn in because I love her countenance. I love the way that she shares about what she does online. She's find her easy artesian bread recipe. So good. So you want to make sure that when you're looking for homeschool advice, that you can see behind the curtain a little bit. And I'm going to tell you that you want to make sure that whoever you're talking to is further down the road than you are in homeschool. Because if you're at the same stage where your kids are doing the same things and you don't have somebody that's right in front of you, then you have this, you risk the fear or the challenge that you're going to kind of pull each other down, because you're just going to be confused together. Instead, you want to make sure that you are looking at and talking to people that are further down the road, where they can say, "Whoop, don't step there. That one explodes. Whoop, avoid that rapid. Unless you have a helmet on, don't go in that direction." So be careful whoever you get your homeschool advice from. And if you're in a bunch of groups on Facebook or places that homeschoolers congregate, if the crowd is not causing you to lean in, then I'm going to tell you, just get courage and jump out. It's just not the place that you want to be. The 5th and the last thing is that you don't want, as a homeschool parent, you do not need to be living a life in a way that you're losing joy. Your own joy, your kids' joy, your family's joy. You did not sign up for homeschool so that you could watch joy drain out of your life. You signed up for homeschool because you wanted to love and laugh and learn together with your kids. So pay attention to what you're doing and make sure that you are moving in that direction. Now, all this to say, if when you look behind the curtain and you see somebody that can help you, I'm going to encourage you to be brave. I'm going to encourage you to tap on that person's shoulder. And online, that means send them a message, send them an email, get on their email list, tap on their stuff, and become a part of their inner circle. Because if they're living a life that you want to follow, you want to follow as closely as possible so that you can pattern your steps after them and glean from the things that they know. I love walking, and I love walking side by side with people. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm really no respecter of persons. I actually collect people to walk with. So if you live in my neighborhood, it's very likely that I will eventually invite you to come along on a walk, because there's something about slowing down and walking along a familiar path where you can then, it brings out the things that you wouldn't normally talk about online or even in like a public meeting. It's slower and it's more intimate, and I love that. And so if you're looking for help, you're looking for coaching, you're looking for somebody to show you the way, make sure that it's somebody that will draw you in to a more intimate space so that you are safe to talk about, you know what, this is what I'm really struggling with. And why do I say that? Because I'm talking to homeschoolers all the time, and it always starts with a basic question, something like, how are you doing in your homeschool? Something like that. And the answers always come back, oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. I'm like, really? How old are your kids? And we go back and forth. And about 5 or 7 layers down, they start to say things like, well, I might be a little bit anxious about this, or I might be having struggles with that, because we're trained to not say everything's not perfect. Everything's not sunshiny all the time. Nope, I don't see the silver lining. We're trained by culture and society and the way that we just are so busy to kind of stuff that down. And so you want to find people that are willing to go at least 7 layers down with you so that you can be in that safe place, so that you can say, no, I'm really struggling with my tween right now. I don't recognize them anymore. They used to be so sweet and wonderful and curious, and now they're moody and agitated, and they don't want anything to do with what we're doing in homeschool. You want to be able to get to that place so that you can dig under it, because there's nuggets that you need to know if you're in that place. You want to be able to say, absolutely, I spent a fortune on curriculum this last year and I hate it. I absolutely hate every piece of it. Like, I go to teach school on Tuesday and I see it sitting there and I'm like, I'd rather watch a movie. I'd rather do something different. So make sure that whoever you're talking to about homeschool, especially if you're looking for guidance, that they're able to kind of just see past all of that drama, see past all the weeds, and actually meet you right where you are in your homeschool journey. You do not need to spend the next day, week, month, or decade struggling about the fact that you're losing joy in homeschool, that you're asking in all of these groups and you're getting all of this terrible advice, or you're getting mobbed by people that have digital products that they want to sell you, bundles that are just coming out, this program, that program, and the other. Like, right, you ask in a group and suddenly not only is everybody an expert, but they have something that you can buy. And it's just crazy. And as homeschool moms, homeschool dads, we're hungry to find the right answers, right? It's not that we don't want the thing. It's that, do we need it? It's like, is that what I need? Your bundle on essential oils it's going to be the solution to my homeschool problem right now? I don't think so. That doesn't feel like a good fit. So make sure that you're not just filling your head with empty advice. If you're stressed over how much you should be doing, that's an indicator that you don't have your master homeschool goals set. You need to step back and ask yourself the question, by the time my kids graduate high school, what do I want them to know? And it's different for everybody, or the same. You can borrow our master homeschool goals. I was crying over curriculum. I've told this story 1,000 times. Crying over curriculum when my kids were little. I had 4 different curriculums sitting on the table because I thought that I needed to teach all 4 of the kids the different grades that were attached to the age that they were at. No. But anyway, I did it. I had all the curriculum sitting on the table and I was in tears. And my husband came in and asked me what was wrong. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't teach 5th grade and 1st grade and preschool and I just can't do it. It's too much. And he's like, Bekki, no. He's like, pushed it all aside. He's like, by the time the kids graduate high school, what do we want them to know? And I always laugh when I tell this story because I'm like, that's an excellent question. And I do not know the answer. So we took the time to establish our goals and they've never wavered. You can actually, there's a video out here from me from 2012 saying the same thing. Our master homeschool goals are that we share our faith with our kids in everything that we do. Because for us, for our family, that's the bedrock of who the Saylers are, is that we are a faith, God-loving family. So that's super important. Number 2, that our kids would master their basic math facts by the time they graduate high school. The basic stuff. The addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, percentages, fractions, that kind of stuff. The stuff they're going to use. In spite of that, we still raised a mathematician. So you don't have to skip the higher mathematics. It's just that the focus should be on the basic stuff. I just talked to a homeschool mom actually, and I'm talking to another one tomorrow, that their main concern is that their kids don't know their math facts. So push the curriculum aside and focus on the math facts. So faith and math. The 3rd master homeschool goal is to marinate our kids in excellent literature, because words need to marinate their soul and fill their curiosity buckets, right? That's how it gets in, is through story. And then our last goal is that our kids would become excellent communicators, both in written form and in oral form. And so when I look back through homeschool and I look through the lens of, okay, we really did homeschool through the lens of those master homeschool goals. And how did it turn out? Did the kids finish a bunch of curriculum? Nope. They actually did like this much formal curriculum. Did they take a whole bunch of standardized tests? Nope, they didn't. So, and I'm confident that if they took standardized tests, they probably wouldn't have like aced or done well on them, especially if they were less than 16 years old, because we just didn't teach the same things. So how would they test well? Because we just didn't teach the same things. Did they learn all the stuff that public schoolers learned? Praise God, no, they did not. But they also did not learn some of the basics that some of the public schoolers did, and that's okay. How did they turn out? We raised a historian, a screenwriter producer, a master musician, a scientist mathematician, and a future business owner / Olympic rower. Soon, eventually, he'll be an Olympic rower. So it still works out. So the idea is that you shouldn't stress over what to teach, but that have this goals perspective. And if who you're listening to isn't encouraging you to set your master homeschool goals, this is where you fall into the, well, I think I need that. Because if you don't know that your goal is to teach your kids to fall in love with story, you're going to buy the next language arts curriculum pack that you think is going to fit the bill, because you don't know what it is that if you don't know what you really want, then you're going to think that you need that thing because it's shiny and it's sparkly and it's supposed to be, right? So don't stress over curriculum. You do not need to feel like your homeschool day never ends. The reason your homeschool day feels like it never ends is because of your lack of your master goal, you can't tell how much is enough, or if you've stepped toward the finish line. Instead, the curriculum is telling you this is the page that you need to do on Wednesday. And so if you don't do that page, you feel like you're falling behind and that you're failing your kids and they're not going to do so well in life. Versus if you're teaching to your goal and you work on a piece of your master homeschool goals, you know, your basic math facts, you read stories and you work on some kind of thing in communication, then you've taken a step toward that goal and you can be done. Like you can go chop wood or go for a walk or go bake a cake or clean the bathroom or do whatever you would have, you know, you and your family do, because the curriculum doesn't chain you to the table. You are homeschooling through the lens of your goals. Does that make sense? And you don't need to be endlessly searching for the next best thing. There is no best thing. There's some really great curriculum out there, and I do have some favorites. I really do. But they're the simple ones. They're the ones that give me just enough of a plan so that I can lean in to what it is the kids are interested in. And so I don't want you to think that I am a curriculum hater or somebody that like turns her nose to things that look academic. That's not true. I'm actually a pretty strict writing instructor. I'm a pretty strict mom in general. But at the same time, we have leaned into love, life, and learning and exploring, and then just, you know, we took the page out of Deuteronomy where God basically says, from sun up to sundown, in everything you do, talk about me and talk with your kids. Period. Like Homeschool 101. Bring your kids everywhere and talk about what you're doing and read a couple books along the way. It's really that easy. It's really that good. But if you don't have your goals, you're going to constantly be filled with that anxiety, right? That stress. Am I doing enough? Am I failing my kids? Are they going to flop? Like, have you ever seen like a monster belly flop in the pool? It can feel like that when your kids are getting out there on the high dive and they're getting ready to jump out of your house into the great pool of life. And there's a real fear that they're going to like right on the pool and then just in front of everybody. It feels like a final exam for you when you release your kids into the wild. And I know this because that's how I've felt every single time we've released one of our chicks into the wild. It just feels like a master final exam. But I want you to know that you do not need to stress and struggle over these things. It helps. It helped me to have a mentor. It helped me to have somebody that was further ahead that could tell me, no, that's just fluff. You don't need that. If you tweaked and you did it this way, you might get a different response. Oh, you know what? I think you have a heart issue. I know you think it's your kid, but I can see it's you. Like it helped me to have people that were not afraid to speak truth over me, that were not afraid to tell me this is unnecessary, focus here. Like that's what made it so successful for my husband and I in our homeschool journey, is that we constantly had people speaking truth over us and speaking counsel over us, and we were hungry for it. But we weren't just hungry for the education, we were hungry to raise up kids that we'd be super excited to release into the world. Kids that were going to be loving and kind and disciplined and hardworking and responsible and diligent and curious and helpful. You know, not kids that are apathetic and bored and whining and complaining and full of all this empty knowledge that they don't have any heart connection to. We wanted to raise kids that were passionate, that loved what they loved and love people and make wise choices. And so here's the bottom line. In your homeschool, I'm going to encourage you to find people that you can pattern your life after. You want people that are rocking it. You know, if you're married and you want to have a rock solid marriage, find people in your life that you can pattern your life after. People that show you that it's okay to still love your spouse, right? I just shared this story too. We just watched Lord of the Rings yesterday in theaters. Yes, we own the movie. Yes, we've seen it a billion times, but we went to the theater anyway. There's this scene at the end where the king sees his elf, and the look on his face is exactly how my husband looks at me. And I see that with conviction, because I shared there too that sometimes my head's like, but laundry and dishes and kids and dog, and so my head's always like spinning. But he looks at me like that. If you are looking for somebody that can help you connect better with your spouse, find people in your circles that you can emulate the things that they do. With parenting, if people are barking and complaining and whining about their kids, they're probably not the best people to ask parenting advice from. You want to make sure that they're confident in the things that they're teaching, confident in the ways that they've raised up their kids, and that they can coach you in a way that can help you raise your kids up as well. And homeschooling's no different. You want to make sure that you can pull back the curtain and you can see, is there fruit on this person's tree? Did they homeschool their kids? Did their kids turn out okay? Do I like the things that I hear them say? If that's true, then tap them on the shoulder and get connected with them. For me, if you are in my corner, you should be able to take a good look at who I am by looking back through my YouTubes. They go back for years. You can find me at A Better Way to Homeschool, and you can also find me at homeschoolingolympians.com. I want you to know that I'm here for you. I can show you how easy it is to be at rest in homeschool, to connect with your kids, to save money, to focus on the things that absolutely matter, to break free from curriculum, and to actually find the freedom in homeschool that you're hungry for, right? You're not hungry for the next best curriculum. You're hungry for connection with your kids. You're hungry to not spend money that you don't need to spend as you're teaching your kids. You're hungry for life and exploration and just having a grand time, so that when you look back, yes, you miss your kids, because it's weird when they go. It is weird. But you look back and you have this wealth of memories and this wealth of having spent time together, doing amazing things together, right? If that's what you want, that stronger connection, saving money, enjoying homeschool, getting up to your elbows in experiences and hands-on projects, then tap me on the shoulder. Go to homeschoolingolympians.com, click on breaking the chains of curriculum right at the top of the page, or the 3 little lines on mobile. Get that, it's free. It'll give you a better glimpse of me and my husband and what we have. And then, just start the conversation. I love to talk to homeschoolers. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I don't always end up working with them. A lot of times I don't, because it might not be a good fit. There's something that's not a good sync at that moment. But if we're a good fit, it is unbelievably fulfilling to come alongside and to grab your hand and then to walk with you away from the stress of curriculum, away from the burden of that endless to-do list that makes you feel like you can't step away, and toward deeper connection with your kids, a happier homeschool memory book as you look back, and just this freedom to do things in a way that you will then be able to reach down and help newer, younger homeschoolers as well. So that's it. Reach out to me if I can help you in any way. Thank you for hanging with me live, and I will see you next time.